Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're a US citizen and you want to bring your parents on a permanent residency or US, which is called US green card, this is the video for you. I'll walk through this exact steps, required forms, fees, and probably some key mistakes which we usually it happens, and to avoid them so that your application goes smoothly. Make sure you watch this video until the end. I will give some pro tips based on my personal experience, which I filed for my mom last year, and I was able to get the. She was able to get the green card successfully without any RFE, and also how you can expedite. Expedite. There's no extra fees or anything, but the how you apply based on that, I think the whole process flows. Let's talk about that in a bit. So next is like who the first criteria, who can apply, who's eligible. Basically, it is to bring in your parents, you have to be US citizens. If you're a green card holder, it's no, you cannot apply strictly, because I don't think US immigration laws approve that for the immediate relative, except the spouse. I think we have to cross check, but I didn't look at that at all. The main point here is you have to be 21 and above, and you have to be US citizen or natural US citizen. Then you can bring in your parents to US as a permanent resident. So there are few nitty-gritties you need to understand, or make sure you know them, or you have to follow through that. Those are, if you're filing for your both of the parents, they both need a separate application. You cannot combine them in a single application, and both need to be separately applied, and the separate fees for that. And if your parent is already in US, there is a one process. You can do some concurrent processing with that, considering they are already in US on a valid visa, applying for a change of status. And secondly, if they are outside US, then they have to go through something called consular processing. Basically, there's a slight different process after the first step. They have to apply outside the country, go to the local consulate for consular's interview. Let's talk about the process based on where your parents currently are when you're applying for this. The first one is you need to apply for the I-130 no matter what. That's a sponsorship. And secondly, the adjustment of status with form 485 versus consular processing. These are two parts. You can say they're kind of like split. These are the two parts you can approach. But preferably everyone, and in my personal experience, it's better to apply when they are in the country. That speeds up the process. Otherwise, the consular processing will take time based on the appointment availability in the particular consulate in the foreign nation. Processing, if your parent is outside the country, you have to wait for the I-130 approval. Till then, you can't apply. It kind of goes in sequence, but within the country, when you're applying things, you can do certain things in parallel. That is called concurrent process. So that's the biggest difference. So let's go over the exact document or support documents you need for these forms. So now let's go to the supporting documents for all these forms, starting with I-130, I-485. Those are two main documents if you're applying within the country. I mean, if your parents are within the country. If not, then instead of I-485, I think there's a DS-260 or something, which your parent has to apply outside the country for consulate processing if they are not in the country at this moment when you're applying. So the first one is a document for supporting documents for the I-130. The first of all is you need to show that proof of US citizenship. Basically, your US birth certificate, US passport, naturalization certificate, any of these will do. For the person who's sponsoring. If you're applying online, you can upload these documents in the USCIS website along with the form. Once you fill the form, there's a section to upload the supporting documents. And the second, again, when you upload the document, name the document appropriately. Just don't say doc 1, doc 2, 3, like PDF files, the scanned, say, birth certificate or naturalization certificate. You just name it appropriately so the receiving officer can easily understand and identify the document. And similarly, the next one is important, is showcasing the relationship between you and your parent. Birth certificate having your name, your birth certificate having your both the parents' name is most preferred way of showcasing. And unfortunately, a lot of us back in like India, especially, um, things are not as required. Either take example, my case, my mom's name was missing in my birth certificate. I had to go to the relevant corporation where I was born, and that township's corporation. Luckily, they had the information. They updated and gave me a new copy of the birth certificate. Something like that you can do, or like worst case, you have to do an affidavit with a court seal and signature showcasing the relationship. Or I think even like DNA report also can be accepted. I think I read about that. Worst case, worst come to worst, that you can do that. But I didn't mention here. Doesn't come under general standards. And this is again, I put a little bit generic list. This I think I extracted from one of the consulate's website list of things. Um, so if there's any legal name changes, your stuff between your certificate and stuff like things like, okay, after your citizenship, you decide to change to your name to something else and your birth certificate or something else, you need to showcase that certificate that this is a legal name change happened. All those things you need to upload. Then passport style photographs for both for you and your beneficiary. And for filing fee, if you're filing online, no harm in paying through a credit card. I did that with my credit card. I paid through credit card. It's pretty straightforward and fast. So next comes I-485. I did talk much about DS-260 because I'm primarily talking about filing when your parents are here, and that's what my experience has been. A supporting document for 485 is proof of beneficiary identity. That's your parents' identity, like a passport, and like for India, like an Aadhaar card. But just Aadhaar card won't do that. You need to have the passport. I think passport is the most important document, and the birth certificate. And it has to, if it is not in English, you better get it translated and certified, the birth certificate of your parents. It applies to your birth certificate also when you're uploading in 130. And you need to get the I-94 document, which you can get through my USCIS site. There's a section where you can get an I-94 for the recent travel your parents did coming into the country. Usually, nowadays, they don't give the I-94 in the airport. So here you have to get it through the USCIS website. You need to attach that. And also for 485, you need to go through the medical certificate examination. You in the sense your parents. And there's a form called I-693 where you partially fill in the your parents' detail and then you hand it over to the civil surgeon or certified doctor for that. That information, like which doctor and all in your area, you can find it through USCIS site. They will based on the location, there are a list of doctors or doctor offices you can go. And the fees lies between like 300 to 700 based on the doctor office. And in my case, basically, my mom has to go through a couple of vaccines. One funny one was the polio vaccine. She's 70 plus, and the USCIS or the new guidelines dictate that everyone coming into the country should have polio or vaccinated, because recently in US there's a polio what do you call break or raise or something like that, and so they want to make sure that it is totally eradicated. And like my mom already had a polio vaccination as a kid, but there's no document or documentation. Eventually, she ended up taking the shots. We after consulting our own family doc on that. Yeah, point is basically you can't avoid. Only excuse you can provide is for religious reason, or if you already have a vaccination, show the documents, uh, documentation proof for that. I don't know the religious reason how you can do. I haven't even ventured into that. That left to you guys how you want to do if you want to pursue that angle. So that's an option. And make sure once you get the report, they give it in a sealed envelope, and you need to provide that envelope as is. You should not open the seal. And next is proof of financial support, but that's I-864. There's another important document. Basically, that talks about you, the sponsor. You have to provide your minimum couple of years tax returns. I did like 3 years, and the couple of pay stubs or W-2s, and also employment verification letter. If your employer can provide that, that's well and good. And the next section doesn't apply to the parents one. This also doesn't apply in my case. The form is pretty long, 485, and a lot of places I ended up saying not applicable. There are like hundreds of questions, but pretty straightforward. A few of them are a little tricky. I'm not too sure, like in 485 or I-130, I think it's in I-130. There's a place where they ask your parents some kind of document which is written in their native language, mentioning their name and stuff, uh, official document, and also it needs to be translated. You have to upload that. And I ended up uploading Aadhaar card for my mom, where it has both English and local language on the card. So that's a good. We didn't have any trouble of getting official translation or anything because it already was in both English and native language. So yeah, that's one tip about these two forms. And the filing fee, I 485. Sorry, 485 is a little heavy. Right now, I think it's 1,140. The price bumped up like maybe 60-70% in last year, I think. And plus, there's a biometric fee of $85 because once you submit all these documents, the first thing the parents will get is, if things are going right order, they'll get a biometric. They have to go to the local biometric center, give a fingerprint and iris scans. It's like 10-15 minutes work, not big. Usually, they are not long queues. They move very fast. Even if you go like little earlier, then you're allotted time. And there's option to, like, once you get the receipt notice and the order for that, there's option to change the dates. But I suggest don't change unnecessarily. Don't want to derail or delay the things unless it's a super emergency. So always stick to the appointment. That's my suggestion. That's what I did. I took off like half day because it's an hour drive from my place, and it was done in like 10-15 minutes. So that's one supportive document. Then, yeah, EAD. Next is the EAD. EAD and AP are optional. AP is advanced proof for travel, and EAD is for work authorization. I did it for two reasons. One was my mom wanted to work if possible, if they get anything, just for time pass or whatever, right? So that's one thing. And in my perspective, as soon as we get an EAD, we'll get an SSN. And with the SSN, she can do a healthcare shopping in the local market, the state healthcare market, private health insurance, because she has a travel insurance, but like the point is, travel insurance was 6 months, and the initial assessment, like even the USCIS website say like 18 months, 18 to 21 months for the green card to come through. So I don't want to do this kit, so I applied for the EAD. And in fact, EAD came in like 1.5 months. That's all. And I applied for AP. AP never came up because before the AP, the green card itself came. Like my mom received the green card like in 66 days. That was super fast compared to a couple of my friends who applied around the same time. But they chose complete offline because they were worried about mixing online and offline. I think I talked about that a bit early, right? So yeah, this is the checklist for the I-765 and I-131. You can go through that. Again, cross-check everything with the USCIS website, individual form and dependent required supporting document checklist, because that will be the most up-to-date. This is just for your reference, what all things you can expect. At least these are, as of now, these hold good, I think. And final tips: always make sure you translate any document you're putting it a certified translation if it is in native language, like birth certificate or anything like that. And also double check all the expiration dates on the passports and visas you're submitting. And also make sure when you're filling the form, the date format, travel date, like things might get confused because the date format US and India differ. And till date I get confused. So I usually like it's the open form. I write in like a month, the day, month letters like a JAN, then the year, that kind of thing, just to be safe. And keep copy of everything you're applying. Make a same docket set. One more, keep it with you till the whole thing get finished because it can help you when RFE comes or anything. What you have submitted and what needs to be done. Like you get more clarity. And always ship through USPS, FedEx, or UPS with a trackable option so that you can track the whole thing. And now, finally, coming to the fees, right? Sorry, how do you file? Not the fee. How do you file? Basically, fee. You need to keep it in nice order. Order like start with a cover letter. Mention what all things you are submitting, and each form try to keep a separate paper clipped bundle. Each form and its supporting documents. Like for example, 485 and all its supporting documents, including doctor certified copy bundle and your financial support document, tax records, everything, and photographs and check with a simple tolerance. Say you can say 485 starts, 485 document starts, and clip them together. That's one set for 485. Similarly, you do it for remaining set of documents and bundle, like finally you bundle them all together and put a big cover, main cover letter. And also there's another form like to make them, you can get electronic updates like email and text updates. You have to fill that form also. Associate that you can put it on top. I think that applicable for all the forms. And so the order I put it like 485, 765, 131. Since already applied I-130 advance, I just put the I-130 receipt notice in 485, showcasing that it is eligible for concurrent application. Yeah, in the order. And filing fees, again, you have to cross-check latest from the USCIS site, what is the exact amount. And the preferred way of payment is check or money order, individual applications. You can combine all together for the docket and do the total amount check, that's okay. But USCIS prefers individually paid fees for individual applications so they can manage easily, rejection or FE or whatever, right? So even for myself, I thought it's a better way to give it like individual form has its own fees, and you just write the check or the money order for that. What else? Proof of relationship and all talked. Organizing the packet. Yeah, this is what I'll do. Use a paper clips. Do not staple. Separate each set of bundle. Then passport photos. Yeah, photos are the photos right about backside the name and date of birth for that particular person's photo, even if get misplaced and mixed up. So it will help or the USAS officer, preferably with a strong pencil. Don't press it, but like it should not get erased by the time it reaches their hand. And put them in a brown or a brown paper cover or a small plastic cover. I will like clipping them together for individual sets for each form. That's the best way. I did use a brown. I think I used a brown paper, and I wrote like photos on the top. So a way to mail this packet. This packet, it is again based on your location. The jurisdiction changes. I mean the processing center changes. You have to check in USCIS website to see where which center you need to submit. Make sure you send it to the right center. I'm not sure what will happen if you send it to the wrong center. They'll redirect or they'll send it back or they reject. I don't know how to experiment. I assume you also don't want to experiment that. And yeah, you can track through the trackers. Final note, what I have put is basically online filing I-130. And this is it. Yeah, the check should be written to payable to our U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Again, cross-check. Don't do it abbreviated like a DHS or anything. And on the backside of check, a full name and in the bracket, if you have a number already, use that on the memo line. You can use the credit card also, but you need to give an authorization form along with that. So what happens after your filing? Once you submitted everything here, what happens next? You'll receive the I-79C within 2 to 4 weeks. Basically, when you apply I-130. And if you apply online, I think I got it in like 3 or 4 days, the acknowledgement, and then the approval notice came in maybe 2 weeks. I think 2 to 3 weeks. And if your parent is in US, you'll be scheduled for a biometric appointment. That basically it happens within. For my mom, it happened like maybe within 25 days or 20 days of sending the whole docket, the entire thing. 485 just one status application. Once I got the receipt came in like 1 week, and later we got a biometric appointment. And if they are your parents are outside the country, then they have to go through there's something called NVC, National Visa Center, in the prospective countries. I mean, I didn't dig in. I just got the information from the web and USCIS sites, and then they have to go through the consular processing, and that probably requires an scheduling. That is again based on the availability of the schedule. And if everything is in good shape, documents are good, then your parents will get the green card issued. And typical processing times for online, or like, no, forget about the online, just talk about within the country and outside the country. According to the USA sites, it's 8 to 14 months if they are already in the country. And consular processing, they say it can take up to 18 months, 12 to 18 months. So that's a typical stuff, the timeline. So let's just visit common mistakes to avoid, just to make sure everything is in order. Before wrap up everything, most common mistake, according to the USCIS itself, people forget to sign the documents. They fill up everything, they forget to sign the document. Make sure every document has signed appropriately. Like, for example, like in 485, there are sections where who's filling the document and who's for it, right? And it has to be two signature, my mom and myself, like multiple places. So those kind of things, don't miss that. I mean, that's the number one reason for the rejection. And second is supporting document checklist. Go through the checklist multiple times. Cross-check with latest on the USCIS website. Make sure you have all the supporting documents. And the third one is basically incorrect filing fees. Don't don't go through any third-party website for that. Always go through the USCIS website for the latest, perfect, right current price for the each application fees. So yeah, those are the main points. And the other thing is, if your parent is outside, things can get a bit complicated, because you have to, it's a consular processing, and they have to go through the interview, and again, usually they are old and all, they get scared, and I don't know. I mean, I haven't checked on that aspect. Even for internal, like when I apply for my mom, uh, it the receipt, I think 485 receipt says the person might be called for an interview if required, but that never happened, and usually it won't happen. That's what I heard from all others. Yeah,
That's
that's
all
all
about
about
it.
it. Bone. I wish you all the best and good luck. Hope your process will go smoothly and your parents get the green card quickly without any RFE. And yeah, that's about it. Please keep watching, share, and please do comment. And if you have any questions or suggestions, please do mention in the my comment section. Thank you. Adios.